thus pleased all. Mus'ab wrote a letter to his brother, Abdullah ibn Zubair, and mentioned the stand taken by those women. Abdullah replied that if they abandoned their stand, they should be set free, otherwise they should be killed. Mus'ab took a sword and went to meet them. One of them expressed disgust against Mukhtar, but the other refused and said, "Martyrdom is acceptable to me, but I will stick to my stand. I know that I shall be killed, and would go to paradise, into the presence of the Holy Prophet and his al-Bayt. By Allah, I cannot accept the son of Hind and forsake Ali, O my God, bear witness that I am the follower Shia of your messenger, the son of his daughter and the al-Bayt." Mus'ab ibn Zubair killed her, making her among the martyrs. Ibn Zubair was an enemy of Bani Umayyah, but his enmity was for the sake of worldly gains. He fought bloody wars with this very object, resulting in 10,000 persons killed. As far as beliefs were concerned, they were alike. Bani Umayyah cursed Ali, from the pulpits, and Ibn Zubair also recited this curse. One day, Muhammad ibn Hanafiya learnt that Ibn Zubair was defaming Amir al-Mu'minin, from the pulpit. Muhammad ibn Hanafiya went to the masjid and interrupted him, saying, "O Arabs, woe be unto you! Ali, is being reviled and you sit quiet. Ali, was the hand of Allah, against his enemies. Ali, was the pulverizing lightning of the subduer Almighty. Since Ali, killed them for their infidelity, they harbor malice towards him and take out spite on him." For 40 Friday sermons, Ibn Zubair did not invoke blessings on the Holy Prophet of Islam. When asked for the reason, he said, "Members of the Prophet's family are unworthy persons. If I utter his name, their courage will increase and they will become happy, and I don't want them to be happy." Imam Ali said, "Zubair was my friend, but he ceased to be friendly when his inauspicious son Abdullah was born." If Bani Umayyah killed the men and women on account of their being Shia, Ibn Zubair also did the same. It is true that the mentality of people who existed thousands of years ago exists even today. Because we see that the behavior Ibn Zubair and Bani Umayyah had towards the Shi, as the same attitude colonial countries are having towards the weak nations. The colonial powers have differences with one another in matters relating to the acquisition of oil and gold-producing countries and markets. However, as regards oppressing independence-seeking people, and the nationalists, their policy is one and the same. They have concluded pacts against the weak nations that want to live a healthy life of independence and take control of their resources. Although the colonial powers differ with one another, they have a single-point agenda against the colonized countries. This policy of the modern world is not different from that of Ibn Zubair and Bani Umayyah. They fought each other to expand their territories but agreed with each other in the matter of persecuting free men, especially the Shias of Imam Ali, Abd al-Malik. The war between Abd al-Malik and Ibn Zubair culminated in the victory of Abd al-Malik and elimination of Ibn Zubair. Abd al-Malik adopted a new policy in respect of the descendants of Imam Ali, He wrote to Hajjaj ibn Yusuf, his governor, "Avoid shedding the blood of Bani Abd al-Muttalib because I have seen that when the descendants of Abu Sufyan smeared their hands with their blood, their regime fell." Abd al-Malik instructed Hajjaj to avoid shedding the blood of Bani Abd al-Muttalib. But he did not do so on account of his love for the Holy Prophet or fear of Allah. Instead, it was because he was afraid lest his throne, scepter, and crown be taken away. Abd al-Malik pronounced these words when he had taken a lesson from the life of the descendants of Abu Sufyan and had seen their fate with his own eyes. That is why he ordered Hajjaj not to shed the blood of the children of Abd al-Muttalib. But, whenever the true believers and followers of al-Bayt posed any danger to his throne, it was considered necessary to shed their blood. Abd al-Malik forgot that sooner or later the despotic systems would be cut at the very root of their regime. He forgot that the blood of the magnanimous Quraysh and non-Quraysh provides nourishment to the tree of freedom. Abd al-Malik prohibited Hajjaj from shedding the blood of Abd al-Muttalib's descendants, but at the same time ordered him to besiege Mecca and demolish the Kaaba. He gave him control of Hijaz and Iraq and allowed him a free hand to kill and persecute the people in the worst possible manner. Hajjaj bin Yusuf. Hajjaj was by nature murderous. To quench his thirst for blood, he killed the old as well as the young. Being accused of Shi'ism was sufficient justification for him to kill that person. In the days of Hajj, it was better to be called an infidel than to be called a Shia. Ibn Abul Hadid writes in Sharh Naj al-Balagha. 3. Imam Muhammad al-Baqir said, "In whichever city they got hold of our Shias, they killed them. Those suspected of being Shia had their hands and feet amputated. A person whose devotion to us became known was imprisoned, his property was seized, and his house demolished. These hardships increased till the time of Ibn Ziyad, who killed Imam Husayn, a. Then came Hajj, who killed or imprisoned people on mere suspicion of being Shia. Shias were in such a critical and dangerous situation that a person preferred being called an infidel than being called a Shia of Imam Ali, a. Two supporters of Imam Ali were brought before Hajj. One of them was told to express hatred against Imam Ali, a. He asked, "What has Ali done that I should express malice against him?" Hajj said, "May Allah kill me if I don't kill you. Now tell me, should I cut off your hands or your feet?" The man said, "Subject me to the torture, which you would like yourself to be subjected to on the judgment day, because on that day Allah will give me a right to take revenge on you." Hajj mockingly said, "Where is your Allah?" The man replied, "He is lying in ambush for the oppressors." Hajj ordered that his hands and feet be cut off, and then he was hanged. Then he asked the second man, "What do you say?" He replied, "My reply is the same as that of my friend, whom you have just crucified." Hajj ordered that he should also be beheaded and then hanged. Kambar. In the eyes of the people, Kambar was the slave of Ali, a. But having gained the benefits of faith from Imam Ali, a. He had scaled the heights of spirituality. One day the bloodthirsty Hajj said to his officials, "Today I want to kill a companion of Ali." They replied, "Kambar would be best to serve your purpose." Hajj summoned him and asked, "Are you Kambar?" When he replied in the affirmative, Hajj asked, "What did you do for Ali?" Kambar said, "I used to bring water for my master to perform ablution." Hajj asked, "What did he do after performing the ablution?" Kambar said, "He recited the verse, 'So, when they neglected what they had been reminded of, we delivered those who forbade evil. And we overtook those who were unjust with an evil chastisement because they transgressed.'" 7. 165. Therefore, when they revoltingly persisted in what they had been forbidden from, we said to them, "Be as apes, despised and hated." 7. 166. And when your Lord announced that he would certainly send against them to the day of resurrection those who would subject them to severe torment, most surely your Lord is quick to requite evil and most surely he is forgiving, merciful. 7. 167. Hajj said, "I think he applied this verse to us." "Yes," said Kambar with perfect courage. Hajj asked, "What if I kill you?" Kambar said, "I would be fortunate, and you shall be damned." Hajj said, "Renounce the religion of Ali." Kambar replied, "Bring for me a better religion before I forsake Ali's religion." Hajj said, "I am going to kill you. Tell me how you want to be killed." Kambar said, "Amir al-Mu'minin told me that I would be slaughtered like sheep without any offense. On my part, Hajj ordered him to be slaughtered." Kumail ibn Ziyad was a very close confidant of Imam Ali, a. Hajj summoned him, but he went into hiding. Hajj stopped the stipends of Kumail's tribe. Kumail thought to himself, "I have grown old, and my life is about to end. It is not appropriate that my tribe should be deprived of its rights." He, therefore, surrendered to Hajj. When Hajj saw him, he said, "I wanted to arrest you." Kumail said, "Do not be so arrogant and don't threaten me. By Allah, whatever of my life is left, is just like a bubble. Do whatever you want. We shall meet each other in before Allah and there would be accounting of the deeds after being killed. Amir al-Mu'minin had informed me that I shall be killed at your hands." Hajj said, "Hence, the argument is against you." Kumail replied, "If the decision is in your hands what you say is correct." Hajj ordered him to be beheaded. Sa'id bin Jubair. Sa'id ibn Jubair was one of the Tabi'in. For at that time, individuals of his level were very few in the world of Islam. He was well known on account of his knowledge, piety, and devotion, and he was also a famous exegist. He used to pray behind Imam Zayn al-Abidin. Khalid ibn Walid Ash'ari arrested him and sent him to Hajj. On seeing him, Hajj said, "Are you Shaki ibn Khazar?" 5. Being unafraid of Hajj, Sa'id ibn Jubair courageously replied, "My mother knows better what my name is. Hajj, tell me whether Abu Bakr and Umar are in paradise or hell." Sa'id, "You can know if you can see into paradise or hell." Hajj, "What do you say about the caliphs?" Sa'id, "I am not their defense counsel." Hajj, "Whom do you like most?" Sa'id, 1. Who has pleased Allah more? Hajj, "Who has pleased Allah more?" Sa'id, "Allah knows better, for He is the knower of the seen and the unseen." Hajj, "Don't you want to confirm what I say?" Sa'id, "I do not want to refute you." Hajj ordered him to be killed. Sa'id recited the verse, "I have turned to the one who has originated the heavens and the earth, and I adopted an upright. And I am not one of the polytheists." 6. 79. Hajj, "Kill him facing a direction other than that of Kaaba." Sa'id recited the verse, "To whichever place you turn your face Allah is there too." 115. Hajj, "Make him lie face down on the ground." Sa'id then recited this verse, "From it earth we created you and we shall make you return to it and we will take you out of it." Once again 20. 55. While Sa'id lay in this position, his neck was severed. Ibn Athir says, "When Sa'id's head fell on the ground it said thrice, 'There is no God but Allah,' once loudly and twice in an inarticulate manner." After killing Sa'id, Hajj lost his senses. He used to constantly scream, "Untie our chains." And when he went to sleep, he saw Sa'id in his dreams holding his Hajj's collar and saying, "O enemy of Allah, for what crime did you kill me?" 6. Hajj's courtier. Masudi writes, Abdullah ibn Hani was a favorite of Hajj. Abdullah had a very ugly and pockmarked face and had a bump on his head. His mouth was twisted and his eyes crooked. Hajj arranged for Abdullah 2 wives, at the point of spear, the daughter of Azmakariya, chief of Bani Fuzara tribe, and the daughter of Sa'id ibn Qays Hamadani, the chief of Yamaniya. One day Hajj said to Abdullah, "Do you know that you were not worthy of the daughters of the chiefs of Fuzara and Yamaniya, but I procured them for you?" Abdullah said, "What you have said is not appropriate because I possess virtues that no Arab has." Hajj, "What are your virtues?" Abdullah, "Uthman has never been criticized in my gathering." Hajj, "Yes, that's right." Abdullah, 70 men of my tribe were killed in the Battle of Siffin serving in Muawiyah's army. But only one of my tribesmen was killed serving in the army of Abu Turab, and that was also not a good man. Hajj, "This is also a distinction." Abdullah, "None of our men has ever married a woman devoted to Ali." Hajj, "By Allah, this is also a virtue." Abdullah, "Our women had vowed that if Husayn was killed, they would sacrifice 10 camels. Hajj, "By Allah, this is also a virtue." Abdullah, "If anyone from our family hears Ali being cursed, he also curses him and curses Hassan, Husayn, and their mother as well." Hajj, "By Allah, this is also a virtue." 7. According to Ibn Athir, after gaining victory over Ibn Zubair, Hajj came to Medina and abused the inhabitants and insulted many of them. In order to insult them, he put handcuffs on them or branded their hands. 8. Ibn Athir further writes, Hajj followed the system of dividing the army into different categories. This innovation started in his time, continues till this day, and the resultant sin is recorded in Hajj's scroll of deeds. 9. Hajj's prison. Masudi writes in Maruhuz Zahab, apart from those killed in battles, the number of people Hajj eliminated was 120,000. When he died, 50,000 innocent men and 30,000 women were rotting in his prison without any case being filed against them. Among them 16,000 were naked. Hajj's prison had no roof to shelter the prisoners from heat during summer and from cold during winter, or from rain. Other means of torture were also employed in this prison. It is mentioned in Tariq ibn Jazi that Hajj's prison consisted of only a boundary wall, and it had no roof. When the prisoners sat in the shade of this wall to escape the sun, the guards pelted stones at them. Hajj fed them with bread prepared with barley mixed with ashes and salt, which caused the prisoners' complexion to become like that of Negroes. A man was put into this prison. After a few days, his mother came to inquire about him. But she could not recognize him, as his complexion had become completely dark. She said, "He is not my son. He is a Negro." However, when she was convinced that it was her son, she screamed in shock and instantly died. These are only some specimens of the horrible crimes of Hajj that many historians have recorded. Throughout my study of history, I have not come across anyone like Hajj in matters of oppression. Except for Nero, who set Rome on fire, and played flute in merriment while watching the flames, consuming children, women, and the elderly. Hajj was simply the enemy of Allah and mankind, and harbored malice against the Holy Prophet and his descendants. If we don't take the tragedy of Karbala into account, we find that Hajjaj's era was more painful for Shias than that of Muawiyah and Yazid. When we see that in Hajjaj's time it was better to be called an infidel than a Shia, we can realize to what extent he committed atrocities against Shias. Hajjaj himself admitted this fact many times. One day he said to the people of Kufa, "I am going to perform Hajj and have appointed my son Muhammad as my deputy. I have instructed him not to accept what righteous persons say and not to spare your sinners." 10. It is a fact that even though not all Kufians were supporters of Imam Ali, most of them loved him. Hence, what Hajjaj said was on this very account. Such dreadful policies regarding Shias continued from the time of Muawiyah and Ziyad, to the era of Yazid, Ibn Ziyad, Abd al-Malik and Hajjaj, and continued even after that. In other words, the despot of every age dealt with the Shias with an iron hand. Abd al-Malik had appointed a murderous neurotic like Hajjaj to tighten his control over Iraq and Hijaz. Hajjaj massacred people in groups and did not consider them better than worms or insects. He was so much obsessed with murder, that he killed even those who agreed to obey him along with children, women, and elderly men. By committing these atrocities, which made all shudder, Hajjaj became Abd al-Malik's favorite. He made him a partner in his rule and gave him control over Iraq, Fars, Kerman, Sistan, Khorasan, Oman, and Yemen. All his life, he took particular care of Hajjaj, and at the time of his death, he made a will in Hajjaj's favor. Ibn Athir says, when Abd al-Malik realized that he was about to die, he said to his heirs, "I instruct you to fear Allah and honor Hajjaj, because it was Hajjaj who strengthened our rule, defeated the enemies, and suppressed our opponents." This bequest reflects the mentality these people were ruling with. What an absurd logic. On one hand, he told his children to fear Allah, and on the other, to honor Hajjaj. It is just like saying that darkness is light, falsehood is truth, and justice is oppression. In every age, justice and piety, in the view of the despotic regimes, have always been killing, plundering, imprisoning, and impaling the people. To protect their throne, they starve the people and plunder them so that the people may obey them without any protest. And if anyone objects, he is killed in the name of Allah and according to the command of Allah, and that is called piety and virtue. Ibn Abdur Rab says that one day Abd al-Malik delivered an address from the pulpit and said, "I am not timid like Uthman, an intriguer like Muawiyah, or a weak-minded caliph like Yazid. I cut off with my sword the head of anyone who raises it as a sign of opposition to me." After this, he came down from the pulpit. Abd al-Malik had used the words of Yazid ibn Muqanna Azri, who had pointed to Muawiyah and said, "If Muawiyah is killed, this Yazid will occupy his place." Then he pointed to Yazid and said, "There is sword for one who opposes this man." Saying this, he pointed to his sword. The despotic regime of Bani Umayyah was based on force and coercion, and it continued till their rule was overthrown and the demon of corruption was destroyed. The savagery of Hajjaj has created some strange stories. 1. Hajjaj's father, Yusuf Thaqafi, approached Hajjaj's mother and wanted to share her bed. She, however, told him that he had already had intercourse with her a few minutes earlier, while actually he had not done so. He, therefore, went to a pious person and narrated the incident. That man replied, "Satan came to your wife in your form and had sex with her, as a result of which, she has become pregnant. You should not have sex with her till she delivers." Yusuf, therefore, remained aloof from his wife till Hajjaj was born. 2. When Hajjaj was born, he did not have an anal opening. 3. It is mentioned in Allama Damiri's Hayat al-Haywan Some historians state that Satan came in the shape of Harth ibn Khalda and asked the people why they were distressed. They said, "This is the child of Yusuf born from Faria, but it is not taking suck." So, Satan directed them to first slaughter a black goat, then to make the newborn lick its blood, and then to slaughter another goat and immerse the child in its blood. Then the child's face should be massaged with this blood for 3 days. He will start sucking from the 4th day. The people followed the instructions, and he started taking suck. Hajj was very much fond of bloodshed. He used to boast that he enjoyed bloodshed in doing something that no one else could do. 11. Whether these accounts are true or false, they definitely show how wicked a person Hajj was. Champion of villainy. When Hajj reached the age of 54, he suffered from a stomach illness which continued for 15 days. During this period, he became sure that he was going to die. The physician examined him and then tied a piece of meat to a thread and sent it down his throat. When the string was pulled out, a large number of worms were stuck to the piece of meat. During this time, Hajj suffered from shivering and coldness. Big fires were lighted around him and brought so close him that his skin could get burned, but he did not feel the heat. When Hajj mentioned his ailment to Hassan Basri, the latter said, "I told you not to harass the righteous servants of Allah, but you did worse than that." Hajj said, "I didn't ask you to pray for my health. I want you to do something so that I may die soon." When he died, Hassan Basri performed the sajda of thankfulness, said, "O Lord, just as you have taken him away, put an end to his indecent policies as well." Hajj died in 95 AH during the reign of Walid in the city of Wasit, and he was buried there. His grave was hidden, and water turned on it. Walid arranged a meeting to mourn his death. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz said, "If every nation sends its villain to compete for the selection of the champion of villainy and we send out Hajj alone, we can win this contest." Walid bin Abd al-Malik. After ruling for 21 years and 45 days, Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan died and was succeeded by Walid. Masudi says that Walid was a cruel man. His father had advised him to honor Hajj, to stand up wearing leopard skin and kill anyone that opposes him. Following his father's recommendations, Walid continued Hajj's yoke on the people. Hajj killed a pious personality like Sa'id ibn Jubair during the period of Walid. Ibn Athir has recorded an incident that shows how Walid honored Hajj. He writes, "Walid became unconscious, and it was thought that he was dead. When the news reached Hajj, he tied his hand to a pillar and said, 'O Lord, long ago I prayed that you give me death before Walid.' When Walid regained consciousness, he said, 'I do not find anyone more pleased on my recovery than Hajj.'" During Walid's reign, Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz was the governor of Medina. He was the refuge for the oppressed and fugitives. Those who fled from the persecution of Hajj took refuge with Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz. Umar wrote to Walid complaining against Hajj's oppression of the people of Iraq. Walid dismissed him from the governorship of Medina to please Hajj. He wrote to Hajj authorizing him to appoint a man of his choice as governor of Hijaz. Hajj replied that Khalid ibn Abdullah Khazri was most suitable for that post, and Walid appointed him accordingly. 12. In connection with the events of 89 AH, Ibn Athir writes, "When Khalid Khazri became the governor of Mecca, he said in a public address, 'O people, which of the two is better, the caliphate of Walid or the imamate of Prophet Ibrahim? By Allah, you are not aware of the position of the caliph. When Prophet Ibrahim prayed to Allah for water, he gave him bitter and brackish water, but when Walid asked for water from Allah, he gave him sweet water.' By bitter water, Khalid meant Zamzam water, and by sweet water he meant the water of the well Walid had dug. Khalid transferred the water of the well dug by Walid in a tank constructed near the well of Zamzam so that the people might come to know the superiority of Walid's well. As a result of this, Walid's well dried up. Khalid ibn Abdullah Khazri called Zamzam water, source of impurities. One day he mockingly said from the pulpit, "How our falsehood dominates your truth. Has the time not yet arrived that Allah should become angry for your sake and destroy us? If the commander of the faithful, Walid, orders me to demolish the Kaaba and transfer its stones to Syria, I shall do so. I swear that Walid is more honorable in the eyes of Allah than the prophets. 13. Abu al-Faraj Isfahani further says, Khalid was an infidel and his mother was a Christian. He made the Christians and fire worshippers dominate over the Muslims so that they may persecute the Muslims. He allowed Christians to purchase Muslim slave girls and marry them. The German Orientalist, Wellhausen writes, on becoming the governor of Kufa, Khalid constructed a chapel for his mother behind the Qibla of the masjid. It is also said that during his youth, Khalid was a homosexual and a pimp. He used to insult the Kaaba, the Holy Prophet, al-Bayt and the Quran. He used to say, a sensible person does not memorize the Quran. 14. The policy of Bani Umayyah was to reward and give political posts to those who were irreligious like themselves. In short, the best proof of Walid's deviation is his confidence in Hajj and the approval of his father Abd al-Malik's conduct. Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik inquired Yazid ibn Muslim as to where Hajj would be on the Day of Judgment. Yazid said, on the Day of Judgment your father, Abd al-Malik, will come from the right, and your brother from the left. Now you may fix Hajj's place wherever you like. Between the two, Sulayman bin Abd al-Malik, Walid ruled for 9 years and 1 month. On his death in the year 96 AH he was succeeded by his brother, Sulayman. Sulayman was a glutton and was very fond of women. In the words of Masudi, Sulayman had a huge belly and he ate too much. As soon as the cook brought a frying pan containing roasted chicken, he attacked it at once. One day he came out of the bathroom feeling hungry. So, 20 kids 15 were brought to him, and he finished them with 40 loaves of bread. As soon as food was served, he began eating along with his friends as if he had not eaten anything. He kept halwa 16 dishes around his bed at night, and when he was awake, he ate the remaining dishes. Sulayman ibn Abd al-Malik ruled for 2 years and a few months. If he had lived longer, his end would not have been different from that of his ancestors. However, he did not remove Khalid ibn Abdullah Khazri, the cruelest man after Hajj, from the governorship. Ibn Abd Rab says, Khalid was the governor of Mecca during Sulayman's reign. One Friday, he went on the pulpit and praised Hajj. 17. Sulayman killed the great Arab conqueror, Musa ibn Nazir, who had conquered many African towns, Spain, Portugal and others. It was because Musa did not retain with himself the spoils of war till Sulayman became the ruler, while he sent them to Walid before that. He also killed Qutayba ibn Muslim, who had conquered territories from Fars to China because he had supported Walid's opinion regarding removal of Sulayman from the post of crown prince. In other words, Sulayman did not pursue a policy that was different from that of his predecessors. The only difference was that he did not get enough time to accomplish all that he wanted to. The best proof of the correctness of what we have stated is that once when Muawiyah's name was mentioned in his presence, he invoked blessings on Muawiyah and his ancestors, saying, by Allah, none has been seen like Muawiyah. Sulayman prayed for Muawiyah because he had not seen anyone as deceitful and as treacherous. He had not come across anyone bolder than Muawiyah in cruelty and crimes. This was the actual nature of Bani Umayyah. Umar bin Abd al-Aziz Masudi writes, Sulayman died on Friday, 20th Safar 99 AH, and on the same day Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz was made the caliph. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz lived for 39 years and expired on Friday, 25th Rajab 101 AH at Dar Samoan, a dependency of Homs, and was buried there. His caliphate lasted 2 years 5 months and 10 days. Unlike with the case of other Umayyads, the grave of Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz was not dug up after his burial and his corpse was not exhumed. No wonder that people curse Bani Umayyah, exhume their bodies, and burn them. But they invoke blessings for Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz, honor him, visit his grave, and believe that it is blessed, because all these things are due to the good deeds of Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz. As mentioned earlier, Muawiyah initiated the cursing of Imam Ali, and this practice continued during the time of Yazid, Marwan and Bani Marwan. When Walid pronounced the curse of Ali, he used to mispronounce the Arabic phrase, resulting in the wrong meaning that Ali was a thief and son of a thief. People were astonished at his wrong diction and said, we never heard that Ali committed theft. Khalid Khazri said from the pulpit in Mecca, Allah's curse be on Ali, who was the son-in-law of Prophet, and father of Hassan and Hussein. Then he, jokingly said, I haven't mentioned Ali. Then he began abusing Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein. Ubaydullah Sami interrupted Khalid and recited the following couplets. May Allah curse one who curses Ali and Hussein and the Imam before him Hassan. Are you cursing those whose grandfather, uncle, and kinsman had a noble lineage? The pigeons and other birds are safe in Mecca, but the Prophet's descendants are insecure. I pay tribute to the memory of the purified, al-Bayt of the Prophet. May unlimited blessings of Allah descend on them till the judgment day. 18. End of the innovation of cursing. The cursing of the al-Bayt of the Prophet continued till the time of Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz. In his own words, the reason for abrogation of this custom was, I used to learn Quran from a descendant of Atba ibn Masud. One day when I was playing with the children and was cursing Ali, my teacher passed by me and went to the masjid. I also left the children and went to the masjid to take lessons in Quran. My teacher prolonged his prayers, ignoring me. I asked him why he was displeased. He asked, Is it you who have been cursing Ali for some days? I replied in the affirmative. He said, How did you come to know that Allah became angry with Ali? Has Allah ever been angry with those who fought in the Battle of Badr and took the oath of Rizwan? I asked, Is Ali a participant of Badr? He said, The glory of Badr was for none except Ali. I said, I shall never curse Ali again. My teacher asked me to promise that I would not do such a shameful thing in future, and I promised. Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz further says, On Fridays, my father delivered a flowing sermon from the pulpit in Medina. However, when he reached the stage of cursing Ali, he used to stammer and found it difficult to speak on this subject. I used to wonder at this. One day I said to my father, You are an eloquent speaker, but when you begin cursing Ali, why do you find it difficult to speak? My father asked, Have you noticed this? I said, Yes. My father said, If the Syrians and others come to know about the virtues of Ali, they will not obey us and will cross over to the descendants of Ali. I remember the words of my father and my teacher, and promised Almighty Allah that if I attained